Imagine this. You're living in the year 610. A man claims that an angel appeared to him in a cave and revealed the words of God. Over the next 2 decades, a new religion is born that will eventually be followed by nearly 2 billion people. Now fast forward. It's 2026. We have the internet, artificial intelligence, space telescopes, DNA sequencing, smartphones, instant communication with almost anyone on Earth. So here's the question that has been bothering me. Why aren't we seeing another Muhammad, or another Jesus, or another Buddha? I'm not asking why people still believe in the old religions. That's a fascinating question for another day. I'm asking something different. Why aren't entirely new world religions emerging? Because if you had asked me before I really thought about it, I would have predicted the exact opposite. I would have expected religions to evolve constantly. Islam emerged roughly 6 centuries after Christianity. If you looked only at that pattern, you might expect humanity to produce another civilization-shaping religion every few hundred years. Instead, it's been more than 14 centuries since Muhammad. Human civilization has transformed beyond recognition. Yet when it comes to religions, billions of people still look primarily to revelations delivered in the ancient world. Why? Now, to be fair, new religions do exist. People still claim visions. People still claim miracles. People still claim to speak with God. New religious movements continue to appear all over the world, but none have come remotely close to reshaping global civilization on the scale of Christianity or Islam. And I think that's genuinely surprising. In fact, I think there's an interesting paradox here. Imagine 2 prophets. Prophet A appears in 7th century Arabia. Prophet B appears tomorrow morning. Who should have the easier job? At first glance, the answer seems obvious. The modern prophet has every possible advantage. They know modern science. They know genetics. They know cosmology. They know psychology. They understand history. They've read every philosophical argument for and against God. They can live stream to billions of people. Their message can be translated instantly into hundreds of languages. They don't have to travel by camel. They have the internet. If someone should be capable of founding the next great world religion, surely it's the modern prophet. And yet, I actually think the opposite is true. I think the modern prophet would have a much harder job. Why? My best explanation is simple. The standard of evidence has changed. Think about how we evaluate claims today. If someone tells us they invented a revolutionary medicine, we don't simply believe them. We ask for clinical trials, independent testing, replication, peer review. If someone claims to have discovered a new species, we ask for evidence. If someone claims they solved a famous scientific problem, we ask them to show their work. In almost every area of life, humanity has become far more demanding about evidence. So why would religion be any different? Imagine someone tomorrow announcing, "An angel appeared to me." How would people respond? Some would be curious, but many others would immediately ask questions. Could this be a hallucination? A psychological condition? A misunderstanding? A deliberate deception? Can anyone else verify it? Can we observe it? Can we test it? Can anyone besides you witness this revelation? Notice something important. These questions aren't necessarily hostile. They're simply the kinds of questions modern people have learned to ask. I don't think science destroyed religion, but I do think science changed how we evaluate extraordinary claims. And science isn't the only reason. Psychology gives us natural explanations for experiences that previous generations might have interpreted differently. History allows us to compare new prophets with dozens of earliest religious movements. The internet exposes every claim to immediate criticism. A miracle recorded today would be analyzed frame by frame. Experts from every field would weigh in. Millions of people would debate it within hours. In other words, the world now asks a different question. Not merely, what is your message? But how do you know? I think that's one of the defining features of the modern age. Now, someone might object. They might say, there isn't another Muhammad because Muhammad was the final prophet. If you're a Muslim, that explanation makes perfect sense within Islam. Likewise, many Christians believe public revelation ended with Christ and the apostles. I'm not trying to argue against those beliefs here. I'm asking the question from a historical and sociological perspective. If someone doesn't already assume one religion is true, what explains the apparent slowdown in new world religions? My answer is that humanity itself has changed. Not biologically, epistemologically. We change how we evaluate knowledge. Thousands of years ago, testimony often carried enormous weight. Today, testimony is usually the beginning of an investigation, not the end of one. And I think that shift has profound consequences for religion. Now, here's the interesting part. This doesn't necessarily mean God doesn't exist. It doesn't even prove that ancient religions are false. It simply means that the conditions which once allowed new religions to spread across civilizations may no longer exist in the same way. If a new prophet appeared tomorrow, I think they would face a world unlike anything Muhammad, Jesus, or Buddha ever encountered. A world with cameras, a world with neuroscience, a world with comparative religion, a world with instant global criticism, a world that expects public evidence rather than private testimony. And perhaps that's why no new global religion has emerged to rival the old ones. Of course, I could be wrong. Maybe another world religion will appear during our lifetime. History has surprised humanity before. But if I had to offer my best explanation today, it would be this. The biggest change over the last 1400 years isn't that people became less spiritual. It's that humanity raised its standard of evidence. And maybe that's why billions of people still follow prophets from the ancient world, while no modern prophet has managed to replace them. At least that's how it looks to me. What do you think?